Welcome to our very first Minisode. I'm Emmy.
And Amber.
And this is
Death Before Decaf Paranormal.
On this Minisode, we're going to my hometown, Coweta, Oklahoma, to talk about a hidden gem packed full of well-known and unknown history, the Bruner Cemetery.
Bruner Cemetery is part of the Coweta Mission and listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. The history of Bruner Cemetery dates back to the mid-1840s when it was first identified as the Coweta Mission Cemetery. Many members of the Lowridge and Childers families are buried here. Their Native American roots run deep in the community. In 1840, the first mission among the Creek Native Americans was established by Dr. M. Lowridge. It was in the mission cemetery that Reverend Lowridge buried his wife, Olivia. She died from a fever in 1845, nearly 2 weeks after giving birth to her second child. Olivia's grave is actually the oldest marked grave in the county. Unfortunately, her child died 13 months later in 1846 and was buried next to Olivia. It is rumored that many Creek Native Americans were buried here in unmarked graves during its time as part of the mission. At one point, after the mission was abandoned during the Civil War, the Bruner family bought the land and used it for burying their family. It then began to be called the Bruner Cemetery. It is no longer used as an active cemetery, and the last known burial was in 1990. Although the most recent grave is not identified with a marker, and it is unknown as to why.
Seems pretty suspicious if you ask me.
There was a large time gap between the 1990 burial and the last previously known. The Bruners gave the property that the cemetery sits on to the state of Oklahoma in the 1970s, and maintenance responsibility was given to Wagner County. A longtime resident named Luther maintained it for a while, but when he was not able to continue, it quickly fell into disarray. It is said it was an extremely popular hangout spot for teens, with forts made in the trees and dirt bikes frequently racing through. Several teens were even spotted carrying away bits of tombstones.
How about we don't disturb graves?
The city of Coweta assumed ownership of the property from the Oklahoma Historical Society in late November 2015 and annexed it into the city limits. Plans then began to be made to restore the forgotten cemetery. In March of 2017, volunteers began to work hard 1 day a month to clean up the overgrown area. They even began to find debris and trash dating all the way back to the 1970s. In February of 2018, a tribal archaeologist with the Muskogee Creek Nation said that the main objective of the nation was to use ground-penetrating radar to locate any potential graves not already marked by headstones. GPR is a non-invasive method where digging is not required. The machine sends a magnetic pulse into the ground that will bounce back from any anomaly below the surface. They have said that a known 37 people are buried in the cemetery that they have the names of, but they know that there are many more unmarked graves to be discovered. Unfortunately, due to COVID, it has once again fell into disarray. Overgrown paths, wildlife, and uneven ground prevented us from investigating as far as we had wished.
But even though we couldn't contact Olivia or get close enough to her grave, we still had some pretty cool evidence to show you guys. Make sure you have your headphones on, or you may miss it. Okay, we switched to this recorder. If you have anything to say to us, you can say it in this recorder right here. We also have some deer, so if you hear a shh, that's a deer. Is there anything you want to say to us before we leave? Is anyone else here? Last chance, we're about to leave. Is there anything you want to say?
Are you upset that your grave hasn't been discovered?
Or that it hasn't been kept? We're very sorry about that.
Yeah, we're very sorry that this has not been maintained. Very sorry that this is...
But a sign will do, like a noise or a voice, anything. a voice, anything.
If you want to show yourself, we also have a camera running right now.
If you don't know what a camera is,
Camera running right now.